We're taking the conversation away from Kenya now and back here to Nigeria.
Absolutely. The clock is ticking and we're counting down towards a new dawn for Nigeria as she heads into the 2023 general election. As political drama continues to unfold ahead of the election, some concerned Nigerians are focusing on Nigerian voters for a purposeful use of the power of the ballot to change the looming leadership trajectory from a distressed Nigeria to a blessed Nigeria for all.
With party primaries concluded and flag bearers chosen, the next question Nigerians are asking is, who should the affairs of the country be entrusted to come 2023? As the conversation gathers momentum, it is also important to underscore where we are, or where we were rather, as a country, and of course, more importantly, where we ought to be. Our guest this morning is Damian Ajayi. He is a lawyer, political analyst, and historian with interest in African history and regional integration. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Ajayi.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about our journey so far. It's 23 years of democracy in Nigeria, and there's still somewhat of a disconnect between the government and the governed. What are we not doing right? And how would you judge Nigeria's democracy?
Well, it's more than 23 years, actually, if you look at it from where we started from, like 1914, the amalgamation, the First Republic, the Second Republic, then, 1999. I think so far, we've come a long way. It's important to know that. If you look at from the 1914 amalgamation to from the Order in Council to the Clifford Constitution in 1922 to the Richards Constitution in 1946, then to McPherson in 1961, then to Littleton in 1904, then to the Independence Constitution in 1960, then to the Republic Constitution in 1963, then talk about 1979 Constitution, forms, the 1999 Constitution amendment. So we've come a long way, basically, in terms of constitutional development. Yes, in terms of our elections too, we've come a long way. I mean, now we're talking about transmission of voting, transmission of votes, results. We're talking about, so we've come a long way back from where we are. But then the question remains, do we still, have we enjoyed the dividends of democracy as preached and pronounced by our founding fathers? So it's a question that begs for answer. But then in terms of our democratic institutions, in terms of our political behavior, I think so far so good. We are not where we ought to be, but we've come a long way. Yes, better than it used to be.
Yeah, well, you might describe it as coming a long way, but I'm sure that there's people who feel like we could have, been in a much better place. It also kind of feels like, we are in a democracy, but the democracy is still being held back. It's still, it's still being under the grip of certain individuals and certain cabals, as they've been described in the past. And so we've not really been able to fully enjoy what it means to be in a democracy. And of course, the influx of old military generals that, dropped their military uniforms and of course put on the agbada, it hasn't also helped. So do you think that these factors have also pulled us back?
In a sense, maybe, but personally, I always think that the politicians always have a way to subdue and negate the contribution of the military in the unity of Nigeria, because there won't be a Nigeria without the military. If you look at, from the 1966 coup and the counter coup, and what politicians did and how the military stepped in. Secondly, all over the world, leadership is an elitist thing. It's few individuals who have the powers to control the factors of production that galvanize the masses. And that's why even if you look at people like if you read The Prince, Machiavelli, he talks about the elite, the small group of people that manage the whole bulk of democratic institutions. But I think what is bad in the Nigerian situation is because the elite have not proposed a way whereby the masses and their agitations are galvanized in a way that it explains and it houses the attention. One of the issues now is even these Muslim tickets, because these are things that are sensitive, ethnicity, religion, they are sensitive issues in Nigeria. So you would think that the elites would come to a sense of consensus whereby they know that, okay, these things are basically what it is. It was what happened in Europe, it was what happened in the UK, the Orange Revolution. The elites had to come together and say, look, the masses have to have a certain basic standard of living. While we play our politics, whatever we do with our politics, but there has to be a basic level of living, and so that the masses can come along. But everywhere in the world, power has always been an elitist thing. Everywhere in the world, power has always been an elitist thing. But the thing about Nigeria is that the elites have to find a way, a framework upon which the agitations and the grievances of the masses are incorporated into their own power scheme and proposition. That is my humble opinion about it.
Now let's talk about the masses. The masses have several issues to contend with, talking about being their own security, providing their own electricity, feeding. There's a great level of struggling that the masses have to go through. Now we are approaching elections 2023. In fact, we've started gubernatorial elections, Osun elections happening this weekend. What structures can we put in place, considering our present reality, to prevent conversations like vote buying, because we did see in the Ekiti elections, there were speculations and videos of people who had sold their votes, because unfortunately some of these people need to eat, and that's all they know. This is the reality that we have to work with. So how can we work with what we have to ensure that we get the best out of the masses, especially as we approach the polls?
Well, for the masses, the level of education of the people would determine their political socialization and acculturization. Nigeria is not the only place where there is poverty. Been to the Gambia, there are other countries in West Africa where people are poor, but then there's a level of integrity, there's less corruption. So it goes to the values of the values of the people, because like some people will say, the best of the masses who they have in their leadership, because they are the people who vote. So because over time they are ignorant, they are not educated, they do not have that political sensitization and enlightenment to forge and press their needs and agenda. They are left to the whims and caprices of the elites. But I don't think poverty is an issue. It's not an issue on the basis upon which people should sell their votes. It comes with poverty and ignorance. And one of the things that are important in any developed society is the quality of education of the ordinary citizen. Because the quality of education of the ordinary citizen will give the citizens the capacity to engage the leadership. But when it's not there, you can't give what you don't have. So the Nigerian population, the Nigerian masses, they are not just poor, they are uneducated, and they do not have the capacity upon which they can go out for what they want in life. So you only see that it's the middle class, maybe the supposed middle class or the intellectual class that seem to be on the front burner of arguments. Oh, we need this, we demand this. But we weigh things out. We saw what was in Osun, people selling their votes. People would always look for reasons to do what they want to do. But I think at the end of the day, you will see that even in Europe, in America, people talk more about social justice. They talk about structural reforms. They talk about access to education, health, justice, because those are the things that will give a basic level of living that will now make the masses demand for what they want. It's not light. It's not light. Light is important, but what they need is social justice, access to healthcare, access to opportunities. And when they demand those things, their lives are better in the sense that they have the capacity and the education to now demand from the government, to now say, no, this is what we want. This is. The masses have a problem, like somebody in the hospital.
Mr. Ajayi.
They're sick. They're sick.
Yeah, Mr. Ajayi, you spoke about, the masses being uneducated. Sadly, it's not, by choice. I'm sure that you should agree, I guess, so you would agree that it's not necessarily a thing of choice that they've remained uneducated. But I want us to move forward, and talk about the 2023 general elections. Do you think that there might be any difference from 2015 and, of course, 2019? Do you see that this new energy that seems to have, risen across the country will be able to make any difference and, put Nigerians in the right direction?
I always believe that the powers that be, the cabal, the elites, determine who becomes the president. The masses just script the masses into their policy. But I don't think anything is different. The election will still be along ethnic lines, it will still be along religious considerations, and all these things we've had since 1954 federal elections, since 1959 elections, to 1964, 65 federal elections, 92, 93 elections. It's always ethnicity and religion. And, truth be told, the two major parties, to be fair to them, the two major parties are one of them is likely to be the president of Nigeria. The third force is doing well, but it's too close in the day, because as we speak now, APC and PDP are the only parties who have offices and escorts in all the over 10,000 wards in Nigeria. I mean, you need that. You need that because politics is local. So I don't see the third force doing a lot, but if they are consistent in the next 20 years or 15 years, maybe. But then, as it is now, I don't see any difference. It's going to be along ethnic lines. The North is going to look at it from ethnicity. The South is going to look at it from religion, and both of them will look at it, and that is it. And it goes down to education. It goes down to, what is the basic level? What is the understanding? What are the values? Because those are the things that shape your political socialization and acculturation. So the elites will probably, if they want a better Nigeria, whoever gets there, will have to spend money or resources and energy and political will on instruments of social change, like education, like mass media, like enlightenment, like, things that change, things that change public opinion and educate. But I don't think anything will be different. The PDP candidate is from the North, he's a Muslim. The APC candidate is from the South, he's a Yoruba man. Nothing is different. It will be along ethnic lines. 2015 along ethnic lines, 2011 along ethnic lines, 2019 along ethnic lines. They will always be there. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic and religious society. And I think that it's important when we realize these things so that we can put frameworks and structures that will help us emerge from these sad realities into a future that is better than this. But this is our reality as it is, because the unity of Nigeria is important. So a lot of these people, when they are campaigning, they go along ethnic lines, they go along religious lines. And those are primordial issues, but that's the reality of what we have.
Amen, Ajayi. Hopefully we see something, that at least creates, some level of hope, for the future in the next general elections. But thank you very much for your time this morning. We'd like to continue these political analysis with you as time passes. I wish you a great day ahead.